Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chicago, the second city. On this beautiful and sunny Friday evening, we are here at Lane Tech Stadium where the top two teams of the Midwest Division are battling it out for the top spot. This is the rematch we've been waiting a year to watch, and the action begins right here, right now, on ESPN3.
Welcome everybody to Lane Tech Stadium here on the north side of Chicago for a showdown in the Midwest Division here. Another in a sequence of Friday night light shows here for the AUDL. And Chicago is going to be hosting Madison. This is going to be an interesting weekend to see who is the top dog in the Midwest Division. Good evening everybody. For Megan Tormey, I'm Chuck Kindred. And we want to welcome you in here on ESPN3 for the AUDL Spotlight Games of the Week. We've got back-to-back games this weekend, Megan. Pretty excited to see how these things shake out.
Yeah, very exciting. Tonight we're watching the Wildfire host the Madison Radicals, and tomorrow we're watching the Radicals host the Wildfire. So the interesting thing about these two teams is last year they never won at their home stadium. We'll see how things shake out this year.
And let's take a look at the standings right now to see what the significance of these games are going to be for the weekend. Now, Madison has had a pretty strong season so far. Let's take a look at the standings here. So Madison 5-1, plus 52 in the point diff. Pretty incredible, pretty strong winning percentage, and big margins, Megan.
You're right, and the Wildfire have done a lot to come back from behind. They had a couple of tough losses early in the season that set them down. So this is why this game is so important. Obviously, the Madison Radicals having a great season starting out, but now that the Wildfire have caught up, these games are incredibly significant.
It's a great point, and the Indianapolis Alley Cats have been surging lately, a really gritty team. We saw them here at Lane Tech a couple weeks ago, Megan. You called that game. How was that?
That was incredible to watch. It went into double overtime, which was fun to experience first and foremost. But both teams at different points in the game were surging ahead, lagging behind. So it was fun to watch the two of them pull it together and fight it out to the bitter end.
All right, well, lots to look forward to here. Let's take a look at some of the key players to keep an eye on for Madison and for Chicago.
On the Radicals, we have three people to highlight. First and foremost would be the young Peter Graffey, who is continuing to prove his worth in his rookie year. He's currently tied with Bo Kittredge for the most Ds in the AUDL. At 23, he's been playing competitively for about 4 years. He's a ruthless defender who makes a habit of collecting come-from-behind run-through Ds. And then another person we'd like to highlight, and we've highlighted and talked about him before, Tom Annan. He plays this game as though he's rehearsed it. He has a good number of years under his belt. He's 28 years old, still plays with a lot of youth. The interesting thing about him is he's played with a lot of players on the Madison Radicals in the club scene as well as in the college scene. So he has a lot of chemistry, and the fact that he has 18 assists, the most assists on his team, demonstrates his skill with the disc and the skill on generating the offensive flow. And then David Schleicher, he has scored 22 goals for the Radicals over the course of the season. In addition to breakaway speed that is difficult to defend, he has excellent field sense and intelligently times his cuts. Couple that with the chemistry he also developed with his teammates he has played with a number of years. It's no wonder that he's one of the favorites in the end zone.
All right, and let's take a look at the Chicago Wildfire and what they're bringing tonight.
We start off with A.J. Nelson. We have talked so much about him, just his versatility of a player. His plus-minus, the highest on the team, 46, shows that he's doing great things for the team, both offensively and defensively. The number of touches that he has, the number of throws, with a throwing percent of 95% and a catching percent of 98%. He's just such a dependable, unique player. But then, of course, the statistic that makes him most outstanding, 33 goals scored. He is in the end zone often, and there are a number of players on the Wildfire who can easily find him in the end zone. Another player we've talked about a number of times, 00, Goose Helton. He has played in the AUDL the longest. He started out with the Indianapolis Alley Cats back in 2012. He is known for his defense, but he's also a huge force offensively. 24 assists as well as 20 throwaways. He's versatile, but a little bit fiery. You can see though that his athletic prowess is really what sells him on the field. And then lastly, we'll take a look at Kevin Kelly, who's one of the captains of the team. He is just a well-rounded player. 7 goals, 7 Ds, 12 assists. He's just the kind of player who, if one of the star players, if AJ or Goose are not available, Kevin Kelly is right there making the appropriate cut downfield, or right there on the end of the end zone making the proper throw for the score.
All right, we are getting set to get underway here. You can see not a lot of wind tonight. It's a sunny evening, a beautiful night to kick off the Memorial Day weekend here in Chicago. And a lot of people getting out of work, getting out of school, and getting ready to have a good time here at Lane Tech on the north side. Megan, do you have any idea why neither of these teams were able to win at home last year against each other? That seems very odd.
It seems very odd, especially when you consider how well both of them play. But I think that's what makes this rivalry so interesting. They both have their unique skill sets. They both have their unique talents. And yet, whenever they match up, it's a toss-up as to which one is going to have the advantage. So obviously, this year, things a little bit different. The Wildfire not coming out as strongly as they did last year, but they're coming back from behind. They're starting to coalesce as a team. So I think this is going to be particularly exciting because we have not seen the Chicago Wildfire at full strength, both in terms of the players present as well as them applying their talents appropriately. So this will be a unique game in that regard.
So Chicago getting set to pull here. Dan Williams will wind and deliver, and we are underway here at Lane Tech. Madison will have the first possession, centering pass to Andrew Brown. And nobody marking on the sideline. Looks like they're trying to get the reset off to Andrew Brown. Middle of the field, stall count's getting high. And that will be a stall. So a quick turnover, nice pressure from Chicago.
That was Andrew Sheehan on the mark. He's one of the players I'm excited to have on the field today. He's fiery as a defender and an excellent handler. So it'll be great to see him apply his talents to the effort tonight.
Nice high D there from Scott Riggles. Gets up over George Hughes Strange. George probably not used to having guys go up over him. Scott Riggles is a big fella. Nice break there from Andrew Brown. Disc in the middle of the field. And a shot deep. Gets some air on it. And that will find the turf. Looking for Schleicher there deep. And Williams will pick up the disc. Looks for the quick reset. Andrew Sheehan with the disc. Lots of space downfield right now for Chicago. Looks like they're keeping a lot of guys behind the disc. What does that open up for you, Megan, when you're cutting downfield and you got 3 guys behind the disc? Is that easier to get open?
It depends on your goal. It does give you a lot more space to make different cuts, different looks, but if that's not the intent, then that leaves you with fewer targets downfield. So it's a dicey move.
A little bit of a roll of the dice. So lots of resets, lots of quick passes here. George Strange up the gut. And Slover delivers one to the end zone. That's going to be good to number 4. That is Alex Wagner.
So that would be an interesting play to see again there, the last couple of throws before the score. Not because it was a dramatic play, but 2 things the Chicago Wildfire were trying to work on was offensive flow, getting enough opportunities, getting enough cuts downfield. So you saw there the time they took to set up a nice, clean option in the end zone. The other thing we saw in that point was Chicago tightening up defensively. In their game against the Alley Cats, they were just trying some new defensive sets. It was no match for the Alley Cat offense. They were able to shred through all attempts at stopping the disc fairly easy. The Alley Cats were using a lot of undercuts, a lot of underthrows to just sneak past the Wildfire easily. So it's nice to see they've taken some time to work on that and slow the offensive.
And a big shot to the end zone is going to be easily D'd by number 5, that's John Cobb. Looked like a miscommunication for Madison, and Chicago will take over. And a foul on the mark, quick 10-yard penalty, and it'll be tapped back in here. Overheard the refs talking before the game. They said they wanted to keep it moving, be decisive with their calls, and just keep the disc back in play. Kevin Kelly unleashes a deep shot, which is tipped and then caught, and that is a goal. Heck of a play there by Stefan Mance.
Yeah, nice bid by Dave Wiseman, but just not enough to send it out of bounds. Stefan Mance right there to follow up.
So 2 quick goals here for Chicago. Let's take a look at the replay. Here's the first D. Looked like John Cobb just got a better read on that. And Kevin Kelly winds and delivers a deep shot, tipped, and look at the adjustment there by the receiver. Nice play.
I'm sure that entire point was a little disconcerting for Madison. Their double team, their signature double team defense was particularly troubling for the Wildfire last year. They made short work of it at this point. We'll see if they can continue that kind of flow through the Radical double team.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch them trying to lock that on to Minnesota several weeks back during our showcase game. Minnesota went over the top with a lot of hammers and really exploited the open field. Chicago somehow was able to work through. I guess not having a lot of wind sort of hamstrings you on defense. And some quick break marks, getting it through the zone here. Andrew Brown winds and delivers a backhand. He's got Riggles deep. Riggles uses the body, makes the adjustment, and with contact makes the catch.
Andrew Sheehan was right there for the D, but you see when you're 6'7", it's pretty hard for anyone to have the advantage over you. Wonder we can look at that again. Maybe we can see if Andrew Sheehan was close.
You can see Andrew Brown's end zone eyes. He sees a 6'7" guy with a step and just drills it deep.
Almost an intimidation D by Sheehan, but not quite.
So Madison on the board. They will wind and deliver here. Looks like the pull may not come back in, or will it? Just barely catches the line. Nice pull. We saw a throw last week from Yokaoka on San Francisco that almost hit a fan. Threw it a bender outside in that was coming across the top of the stands, and the wind knocked it down. A little bit of a liability concern for the AUDL when guys do that. So nice containment here from Madison zone. Bob Lou feeling the pressure here, gets the reset off to Goose Helton, and they are moving backwards.
Last year, the thing that really helped the Wildfire in these situations were Brody Smith's easy over-the-top tosses.
Yeah, Brody Smith, not a guy who's shy about taking some shots. And a foot block there on Ron Cablanza. Matt Weber gets the block, wants the goal. Let's see if Madison can capitalize here. Upline cut, a little delay move from number 6, Bill Everhart. And Madison is in the end zone. Nice break from Madison. So that started to look a little bit like last year. Madison having a hard time moving the disc, or excuse me, Chicago having a hard time moving the disc. They're resetting backwards. And I mean, when you're turning the disc over on a throw that's going backwards, through 2 markers, the zone is working.
It certainly is, and that's a tough one mentally to overcome. When I mentioned Brody Smith earlier, the Wildfire have a large number of really skilled handlers, but they do tend to play it a little bit on the safe side, with the exception of last game when we saw Bob Blue open up with a few big across-field hammers. They're not known for throwing those kinds of throws often.
Chicago with the disc out in space here. Brett Kalanick looking for a reset. Finds Williams. And Greg Slover under pressure. Upline to Williams. So far, Chicago getting what they want, and George Hughes Strange is left alone for the goal.
Good pressure from Madison. Great chilly offense from the Wildfire. They waited until they saw exactly what they were looking for. One cut in particular there was Greg Slover's nice clean from the back of the field in. Huge yardage gainer for the Wildfire. Helped open things up as the play was getting just a little bit stagnant there on the sideline. And George Hughes Strain just breaking away from perhaps an unsuspecting Radical player.
Looked like a little bit of a scramble in the back there by Madison. Somebody left George open on the open side. So we're going to be on Twitter throughout the game tonight. Hashtag AUDL. We're trying to keep an eye on that. And my handle is @ChucktownNow. Megan, what's your handle?
Meagles000.
So feel free to ask questions, make comments. We will try to respond on air whenever we can here. Big bid there and a turnover. So Brett Kalanick will pick up for Chicago. They've got good field position here. I wonder if these shadows are bothering some of the players. Not a lot of wind, but the disc keeps going in and out of the shade. And Chicago made quick work of the defense there. Nice strike from Chicago on a careless mistake from Madison. How tall is Kevin Kelly?
Kevin Kelly is 6 feet 4 inches.
6'4". He's a lanky guy.
He's indeed. Both teams actually have quite a lot of height on them.
Yeah, they say the Midwest, they grow them bigger. Seems true.
Corn-fed.
Corn-fed, middle American athletes. Nice flow there from Chicago. Seems like when teams reverse the field on these wide fields, things just open up quickly. We saw that a few times last weekend out on the West Coast. Just when you reverse the field, there's so much space on the AUDL field. It's over 50 yards wide. You really are in trouble. And we heard even guys like Bo Kittredge, who are just athletic phenoms in great shape, they'll get tired at the end of an AUDL game because the field is so big and there's such a small amount of break between points. It can be very challenging. So Madison working it up the open side, and a big layout deep there from Colin Gephert. Drews, number 8 for Madison, a little frustrated with himself for making that throw. And Andrew Sheehan picks up, looks for the break. A nice IO to Williams, who puts it up to Greg Slover. Swain in the mix, and Swain makes the D. Nice play from him. Wiseman wants a deep shot, and he will take it. Nice play from Meshnick, and he will huck to the end zone. And a full layout fingertips, but no good for number 80.
Lucky break for the Wildfire on that one. The Radicals were definitely ready to play offense. The Wildfire not so ready to be on D.
You can see a nice play there from Meshnick. George trying to come over the backside. Andrew really played position well and extended out to make sure he made the catch. And just not enough air on that deep shot. So Chicago working from their own end zone. Little give and go to Sheehan. Sheehan looking deep, thinks better of it. A little bit of a junky defense, and they open it up. They're going to huck deep to George. Looking for redemption, and Meshnick shuts him down with a layout D. Nice play from Meshnick. Wow, 2 straight plays in that matchup. Andrew Meshnick got the better of both of them. And looks like it may be a travel. Adam Drews may have tapped into the wrong spot, so he will take a 10-yard penalty and keep possession of the disc. Remember, if you travel on the release, if you travel on a throw, it's a turnover. And he is in trouble, and he is going to turn the disc. Tough point right now for Drews, rather. And Chicago in the red zone with the disc.
That was Dan Williams with a really tight mark there. He is excellent on defense, but his fire on defense sometimes gets a little bit of the best of him on offense. And that foul call brings it right to the middle of the field.
Sheehan immediately comfortable with refs, looking to draw fouls. And the score to Colin Gephardt, he spikes it. And the Madison guys calling for a foul. They're saying Sheehan stepping into the mark, pushing them away.
And maybe we can take another look, see what we think with the beauty of replay, Chuck.
Referee ultimate. Some people are against it. This might be why. Let's see what Andrew does. Gets the disc in the middle of the field. Double team is legal. And clearly a push. It's interesting. On the previous point, or on the previous possession, he stepped into the mark and got a foul. Can hardly fault a guy for trying again, right?
That one was a little aggressive, but I don't know that either ref had good position on it in order to call it.
That's a good point. In any event, Chicago is in control here, 5-2. Again, like we said last year, neither of these teams was able to win on their home turf. Chicago looking to be the first team to do just that. Andrew Brown in the middle of the field. And Schreiwise with the disc, barely gets it off. Stahl was getting high. And Benji Kieran will swing it around. Andrew Brown will unload one deep to Schreiwise. Nice shape on that disc. It'll go up and come down right over Jeff Saradniski. And Madison is on the doorstep here. Benji with a tough break to Coolidge there. Coolidge so active without the disc, always moving. And a miscue, and Madison coughs it up. Very costly turnover in the red zone here for Madison. Bob Lou will take over. Immediate double team. He's going to look to break. Finds the back head up to the shady side of the field. This is almost not up when down when it's shade and sun. And Ron Cablanza with the disc. A little too aggressive on the mark there for Benji Kieran. And 10-yard penalty for Ron Cablanza. Ron, a grizzled vet here. Winds and delivers. Ron also the coach this year, is that correct?
That is correct. He is a player coach for the Wildfire. Sort of started taking over those responsibilities towards the end of last year. This year, fully committing. He's also coaching Machine, the elite team from Chicago.
And a hammer over the top there did not work. Nice bid there from Jeff Saradniski. And Madison is off to the races. Nice adjustment from Kieran. And another hammer over the top. And Coolidge tried to use the body and did not work. As number 24, Taylor Kramer, comes over the top for the clean D. Nice play by Kramer. And it is 2-5 here. Chicago with an early lead.
Yeah, it's a Zipcar. I don't own it, I just use it when I need it. Zipcar has thousands of cars parked all over the city, even 2 on my block. You can use one for an hour or for a day. And Zipcar pays for gas and insurance. It's easy.
Go to Zipcar.com to get your Zipcard, the key to vehicles parked in your neighborhood and across the globe. For work or play, find a Zipcar near you, book it,
And before you know it, you're on the road.
Cars by the hour or day. Gas and insurance included.
Join for as little as $6 per month at zipcar.com.
Welcome back to Lane Tech Stadium here in Chicago. The sun is starting to creep behind a couple clouds in the sky. And Chicago with an early lead 5-2. Megan, Chicago has looked pretty strong out of the gates here.
Absolutely, and that's one thing you're never quite sure with a Wildfire. They have a tendency to fight more fiery in the second half. It's always great to see them come out intensely in the first half. So that intelligent timeout call by Ron Kublanza, trying to keep the head on the shoulders of the Wildfire players, making sure they keep moving methodically, keep moving smoothly as they have been so far.
Bob Lou taps it in here with a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Here's that patented double team, the bearded giant, Matt Weber on the mark. Meshnik and Weber both have great hands. Somehow the hammer gets through. And a great D. Great D by number 9, Josh Wilson. A little bit of contact, but normally if you get the disc first, foul is not called and he gets away with it there. So Madison swinging it around. Meshnik with the disc. Looks for the hammer over the top, and that's going to stay a little too low and tight. And Madison, once again, that's been the early story here. They cannot get it in the end zone when they're in the red zone.
So in case you're wondering why it looks like the Wildfire are completely encased by the Radicals when they put on that dumbbell team, Andrew Meshnik is 6'3" and 195 pounds, and Matt Weber, number 15, is 6'6", 210 pounds.
Yeah, and let's not forget these two guys are apes. They have big arms, long arms. Very tough to break. I was surprised Bob Lou was able to get over the top of them. You can see Meshnik and Weber trying to kind of keep the disc contained, not give them any clean looks up the gut. Williams able to find Walden Nelson downfield, and he hucks it deep. This one's turning over, but Jeff Seredniski stays with it, keeps position, and makes the catch.
That was their top defender on Jeff Seredneski, number 26, Peter Graffi. But Jeff with just a little bit better of a read on the disc. Huge put, great decision by Walden.
Heads up play there. Take a look at the clock. Saw that he had a man deep. Made sure to get a look at the end zone before the half came, or excuse me, before the first quarter was over. Graffi there did not get a good jump on that disc. He's a pretty exciting defender. One of the guys that's new this year and has just made play after play. Pretty nice pickup for Madison, I think.
Yeah, he's played Madison Club, I believe, for about 4 years now. Meaning he started around 18, 19 years of age.
And here's Wiseman cranking one towards the end zone. And that will do it for the first quarter here in Chicago. The Wildfire up 6-2 over the Radicals. And the story thus far, Madison has not been able to score in the red zone. And Chicago just looks pretty solid so far, Megan.
Yeah, I will say that the Radicals have tightened down that double team. It looked like the Wildfire were having a little bit easier of a time with it initially. Now it's kind of clamped down. And if the Wildfire are not able to get just an easy around or up the gut throw, that's really going to stymie their offense. We saw earlier that what can happen. Ron Kublanza with that foot block right outside the the Radical end zone. That could be costly. That could be dangerous for the Wildfire as the game continues.
So we will take a quick break and be right back here at Lane Tech.
Yeah, it's a zip car. I don't own it, I just use it when I need it. Zipcar has thousands of cars parked all over the city, even 2 on my block. You can use one for an hour or for a day. And Zipcar pays for gas and insurance. It's easy.
Go to zipcar.com to get your zip card, the key to vehicles parked in your neighborhood and across the globe. For work or play, find a zip car near you, book it,
and before you know it, you're on the road.
Cars by the hour or day. Gas and insurance included.
Join for as little as $6 per month at zipcar.com.
I missed my graduation. Distracted. asleep so we could drill. I miss anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. I miss the final exam. I miss the plane flight. I miss my parents' anniversary. I miss a lot.
And welcome back to Lane Tech Stadium here in Chicago. A chilly evening here to kick off the Memorial Day weekend. You can see the fans starting to pile in here. And we're going to take a look at some highlights from the first quarter. Here you can see Scott Riggles getting up high for the D over George Hughes Strange. Nice deep D there. I think that was Wiseman who got a piece, and then a nice adjustment by Steffen for the goal. Here we can see Ron Cablanza uncharacteristically gets kicked blocked by Meshnik and Weber. Really nice work from them as the quarter progressed. Near miss there for Madison. And a couple real nice bids there for Madison. Just out of the fingertips of the receiver. Chicago will receive to start the second quarter. Bob Lou in the middle of the field, and here comes that zone. Matt Weber, number 15, and Andrew Meshnik, number 2. Very intelligent marks, very long marks. And so far, they're causing a lot of trouble, Megan. So Bob Lou right where they want him, all the way to the sideline. Nice step around backhand from Bob Lou. Totally diffuses that pressure that builds with the zone. Bob Lou, not a big guy, doesn't have very long arms, but watch him step around almost any elite mark. Nice catch by Goose Helton in traffic there. And A.J. Nelson really hasn't done much downfield. He's behind the disc getting open resets here. Throws a quick scuba over the top to Seredniski. Great pressure right now for Madison. You can see half the time Chicago's facing backwards. Not even looking for the downfield throw, rather.
So you'll notice, Chuck, this is a slightly different zone than the simple double team we've seen from the Radicals a lot. This is something they have worked on during the offense. They wanted to have versatility within their defense. They tried it out in their game against the Minnesota Wind Chill. Didn't quite work the way they expected it to, but it was still early in the season. Clearly they've honed it a bit. The Wildfire are having to work so hard just to get 5 yards.
I wonder why they don't go over the top. Minnesota absolutely exploited this defense, and here's an over the top right on cue from Ron Cablanza all the way to the far side of the field. Seems like every time a team does that to this zone, I mean, it takes Weber and Meshnik a whole heck of a lot of time to get around to catch up. I don't know why anybody wouldn't do that. Instead, they try to throw through, and it is blocked. Very high-risk throws through the cup that the Chicago's trying to hit. Seems like an error. And Madison will take over. A couple guys streaking deep. A nice flat mark there from Walden and Goose to prevent the deep shot. And Reef will reset. Everhart swings it around, a little give and go, gets it back. So Wilson and Everhart, your hand rows, and Wilson will take a shot at the end zone here. Help off the backside from Jeff Seredniski. Looking for Meshnik, but it will not work. And let's see if Chicago has some different ideas on how to beat this zone.
They have gotten off a couple of successful over-the-top throws, but one thing that Goose Helton told us in the game against the Alley Cats is that the conditions here at Lane Tech Stadium are just a little bit bizarre. There's about a 10-mile-per-hour wind right now, which is not strong for a Frisbee player, especially at the professional level, but it gusts strangely here at Lane Tech, so throws that you think are going nice and flat will lift or drop at the last second. which could be preventing the Wildfire from taking more over-the-top opportunities.
It could be, but they're not very high percentage on these, even these quick resets. Maybe Goose Helton trying to do a little too much there, throws behind Walden Nelson and another turnover. So Madison forces another turn with this zone. For whatever reason, they've had a very hard time punching it in. I think the pressure from Chicago's been good, but also the decision-making by Madison has not been all that good.
One thing I remember about the Madison Radicals last year, and because they had such a low turnover between last year and this year, I'm sure it's the same this year, they do not play poorly when they are down. They seem to never pay attention to what the score is on the board. They play hard the entire time. They play spirited. They are very capable of going on long runs, so I'm sure that this 4-point deficit means absolutely nothing to them. And they love playing defense. In particular, Peter Graffey, I spoke with him earlier this week. He so loves offense that they put him on defense because he'll go get the D so that he can play O. That kind of love of defense strictly for offense is not unique to him alone. So the Madison Radicals are out there just chomping at the bit to get the disc back in their hands.
An interesting story there about Peter Graffey, 23 years old, obviously hungry to play like a lot of us were at 23. I guess you throw him on the D-line, tell him to go earn his offense, right?
And he certainly does. Certainly does, with 17 Ds under his belt. It's a good strategy.
Absolutely. Andrew Brown in the middle of the field here, vertical stack. And Tom Annan back for the reset. Disc comes in, looking for the break. And Coolidge gets open up line here. Foul on the mark is called. So he will have it right on the goal line. I think he gets to center it, and he does. So Thomas Coolidge will tap it in on the goal line. Madison with another chance in the red zone to score a goal. Nice mark there from Colin Gephardt. Little give and go to the open side. Such an effective way to get open. Coolidge made that look very easy.
That was the starting O-line for the Madison Radicals. They function incredibly well together, and they all know their own roles well enough to play in a heated point such as this one. Brown with the assist there. Oftentimes he's setting up the throw for someone else to get the assist. But Coolidge, you see, takes 2 looks downfield and realizes it needs to go to the hands of the very capable Brown.
You can see how when there's a forehand mark, if you reset to the open side and then immediately sprint, the mark is out of position. Guys like Bo Kittredge, Thomas Coolidge, a lot of great guys that wind up with the disc who have great speed make a living off that cut. I know at Worlds in Japan, gold medal point, Bo Kittredge set up on the far side of the field for a revolver and just sprinted to the open side, and there's not a single person who can stay with him over 40 yards. So Walden Nelson with the disc, gets it downfield to A.J. Nelson. A.J. making a lot of lateral cuts, really not taking advantage of his height. And the deep shot to Jeff Saradnitzky, unable to collect and bid on that. And the geese squawk in disapproval.
A.J. Nelson again showing off his versatility to that point. We saw the matchup between Swain and A.J. often, simply because Swain is probably the best candidate to stop A.J. from doing what he does, which is why we haven't seen A.J. running deep as much as we have in past games.
A.J. goes for a poach bid there, doesn't get it. Wiseman just kind of playing a popper in the middle of this zone, just trying to get the disc, be opportunistic, and now it's settling into more of a man. Nice pressure around the disc from Chicago. Although Dave Wiseman looks very comfortable cutting against A.J. Seems like Chicago maybe intentionally was backing Mike Swain a little. Mike Swain, definitely a guy who likes to get into the end zone, likes to get a step and just drive and drive and drive to the end zone on these flat, deep shots from some of the great Madison handlers.
He's one of the fastest players on the Madison Radicals, so it's a smart move by the Wildfire.
It's a great point. Meshnik in the end zone. Let's see if he can do something. Nice break to the inside, and Meshnik will clap catch it for an easy Madison goal.
Meshnik looking good on offense there. Also, again, the one we saw earlier in that double team alongside Matt Weber. Andrew, another very versatile player, which is the way it is with a lot of players here on Madison Radicals. The Meshnik has 10 goals coming into this game. That would make 11 or 12 assists and 12 Ds.
He's so solid. I remember last year at the beginning of the season, we didn't see a lot of him, and then he came on the scene, sort of started working in as a mark in the zone. And he's just one of those guys that piles up stats. He's always making the right play. He's very tough to get open on. And, you know, on plays like that, he's just in the right place at the right time, ready to catch the disc. And that's what they teach you when you're coming up, is always be ready to catch, especially against one of these junky Ds where not every man is guarded. It's just kind of a zone. Always be ready to catch, they say. And a push pass there from Williams. And a bullet to Slover down the line. Colin Gebhardt gets it, looks for the hammer. Nice help off the backside. But Chicago's moving the disc quickly here. Never letting the zone settle. This is one of your options. You can go over the top, or you can just keep the disc moving so that the cup can never quite get set. And there we see Dane Olson stepping to his left, drawing the foul for Matt Weber. Matt Weber, not the most nimble lumberjack you're ever going to see. He's 400 pounds, 8 feet tall. And he's double teaming. Hammer over the top. Let's see what happens. And the D is there. Madison with nice help off the backside. And a nice clean D up high for number 21. See if we can get a look at the number there. Oh, 26, Peter Graffi, doing what he does so best, getting up in the air and making a play.
I'm sure Dane was hoping to catch them by surprise with that throw, which is why his hammer didn't have quite enough spin on it to get it to its intended target.
Wow. And a quick little communication there on the back end. Meshnik makes a tough catch against the bid and bombs a 60-yard forehand.
We should see that run again just to highlight Graffi's athleticism, Graffi's speed, why he's able to get so many Ds, and then turn around and do exactly what we just saw, create a very quick turnover for the Radicals and then generate a quick score.
So you can see Meshnik gets open underneath here. Watch the big bid. Meshnik able to make the catch, turn, get his feet under him, and just drill a forehand deep. You can see Weber almost makes a play on this. Gets called off by Graffi, though.
So two throws before that one, it was Graffi with the disc. So he released the disc and then booked it to the other end.
Great play by him. Nice break from Bob Lou. Finds Kramer on the near side. And a little no-dump look from Madison forces the big swing, and Walden Nelson plays it well. And lots of pressure. You can see Madison has made an adjustment. They're pushing the dumps downfield. No free reset, and clearly it's causing some trouble for Chicago. They look uncomfortable. They're a little bit flustered. They like the easy reset, it looks like. And good job by Madison to make some strategic adjustments on D and keep these handlers uncomfortable. And a huge layout D. A.J. Nelson gets in front of Swain. And Bob Lou with the disc. Winds and delivers to A.J., and it's just a little too bladey.
Normally you can count on, I'm sorry, Chuck, normally you can count on Bob Lou to secure difficult throws like that. I've said it a million times, he's a very chilly offensive handler. He usually makes the exact right throw, the exact right call. This just goes to show that even Bob Lou can get a little flustered.
Even Bob Lou, the Zen master, can step out and throw a blade into the ground. I guess we're all mortal, right? So Chicago hanging on to a 1-point lead, 6-5 here with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. We will be right back.
I missed my graduation to practice. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed my final exam. I missed some coin play. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
Welcome back to Chicago on a chilly late spring evening here, and Chicago up 1, looking to be the first team in this Midwest rivalry to hold serve at home. Last year we saw every single time Madison came down here they won, including in the playoffs. Every time Chicago went up to Madison, they stole the Radicals' thunder and a victory up at Breeze-Stevens Field.
Chuck, the play the last couple of points has reminded me of the very first time you and I broadcast together here in this very stadium. We saw these two back in 1985. We saw these two teams match up against one another.
It was the kindergarten AUDL League back in the day when Commissioner Steve Gordon was only 38 years old. So great pressure here. Tough reset. And Madison somehow hanging on a possession here. A nice adjustment by Chicago, however. Almost a layout Callahan there. And Madison, this is the first time I've seen Madison really struggle to reset the disc. And that's going to be a turnover. Nice play by Chicago. They really stepped up the pressure. And Madison just could not keep the disc moving. Remember, in the AUDL, you only have 7 seconds and you don't hear the stall count. So a lot of times these guys don't know when they're about to get stalled. And a whistle on the field. So the disc will go back to Williams. Not sure what the call was. I think, again, it was a travel because he tapped into the wrong spot on the field. So he will get a 10-yard penalty, keep possession, immediate double team. Tom Annan and Riggles on the mark, reset to Sheehan. And he swings it around. Temperature is dropping here in Chicago. And Slover goes down to get the disc. Slover very creative with the disc. You can see he changes release points, changes hands, and he finds the end zone. That's Big George. A DC transplant, a doctor, a scorer.
Hugh Strange, I think, is known for making those kind of last minute, there's no other option, run through and save the day kind of throws. I don't know if he's sitting back waiting for that opportunity to happen just so he can get a pat on the back. But whatever his reason, whatever his methodology, he's a great guy to have on the field. Look at that.
You're right, he does that quite a bit, and he's a lot faster than I think people give him credit for. And he's great at using, you know what he did there? He just kind of ducked around the defender, got his shoulder in front. He's such a big guy. What are you going to do? I mean, all you can do is grab onto him.
If you dare.
If you dare. So John Cobb winds and delivers. Puts a lot of hyzer on that backhand if you're old school. And a nice catch by Meshnik. And another backhand from Drews that gets away. And Brett Kalanick will pick up the disc. And he's going to wind and deliver a deep shot. Whistle on the play. Contact before the throw is called. So not sure if there was a hold or some kind of bump, but in any event, Chicago will get the disc. And it'll be 10 yards from the original spot of possession. Nice adjustment there by Meshnik. You can see he does the right thing there. Gets down low and wide, and a nice swing. Chicago looking to strike here. vertical stack from Chicago. They're going to swing it around, and Kalanick will go horizontal for the goal. And the savvy vet gets horizontal, makes the play, maintains possession. A nice point for Brett Kalanick.
That was a fantastic play. He dug just deep enough to get under that disc and grab it. Didn't have a lot of room to speed up either. He was working with just a few steps advantage.
Looked like a little contact on the throw even. But for you young players, you see stretches his arms out, kicks his legs back. That's how you prevent injury. And he's fired up. He spikes the dish. Chicago up 8-5 here. Probably just be one possession before we go to half. 25 seconds left. And Chicago playing well. You see Chris Vandervoort, coach of Northwestern, getting his first piece of the action. And a blade backhand. Well played by Madison, and they're looking to move the disc quickly. So just over 20 seconds left. Tom Annan with the disc. Center fielder is Jeff Saradniski. Nice movement from the back. And Madison right where they want to be, about 8 yards out, 10 seconds to go, and a foul is called. So that will be Madison's disc, center of the end zone. And the clock is running. I believe it should stop. So we may have to put a couple seconds back on the clock. Disc is in. And the backhand break over the top will work. Madison scores. And it looks like we will have one more possession before halftime. Well done by Madison. They only had 23 seconds. They worked it all the way down the open side. Draw the foul. Middle of the end zone. Backhand break over the top here. When there's not a lot of wind, these over-the-top throws really do work. They're really available. And I think a lot of the top players generally, when they have the disc on the end zone, they're looking for a scoober. Or if you're a righty, you know, a quick little lefty backhand. You'll see guys step inside, set up the inside forehand, and then release a high backhand on the offhand. So Chicago's got a chance to answer here. 8 seconds left. Remember, the clock doesn't start until the first catch. So Wiseman's going to throw a roller. So still 8 seconds left, and the clock starts now. Bob Lou swings. Flat mark here for Meshnik, and the huck goes up. Looks like it has the distance. And well played by Riggles. Goes up and rips it down over the two Chicago receivers. Scott Riggles made that look very easy. Riggles, an interesting character, was not planning on playing club or professional ultimate. When he found out there was going to be a pro team in his hometown of Madison,
Meet it at 50?
he said, you know what, I'm going to dust it off. I'm going to buy some cleats. I'm going to work out.
Okay.
I'm going to work on my offhand skying Ds. You can see it's all paying off for Riggles right now. So after one half, Tim DeBile, owner of the Radicals, probably not too upset to be 2 points down on Chicago. Generally speaking, Madison has finished well here. But certainly some adjustments need to be made for Madison. They did not score consistently. When they had the disc in the red zone, they just were not punching it in. I think their zone D looked very strong. And Megan is down on the field with A.J. Nelson. We are going to send it down.
Thanks, Chuck. AJ, give us a little bit of an idea what it's like to try and run offense against that Madison zone.
Yeah, it's tough. We knew from last year they do a great job of running that zone. We've been practicing a little bit, but it's very smothering. There's a few things that we harped on before coming in this week, some of which we're doing, some of which we need to work on. I think we're finding the opportunities. They're there. Just about execution so far. We have some looks that are working that we're usually going to hit. Not quite making it there, not quite executing the way we need to.
You mentioned some things that you were harping on during the week. What exactly were you working on?
Yeah, the biggest way to work this defense is just move the disc early, and we've been doing that a lot. We keep getting stuck in a couple places. Certainly moving the disc early, throwing a lot of fakes, and keeping space on the field. Like I said, we've been doing it okay so far, but definitely need to pick up second half.
You took the advantage easily and early during the first quarter. What exactly was working for you, and can you apply it to the second half?
Well, keeping our D-line on the field. They were doing a great job. They came out really hot, and their offense has been running great. So offense just needs to take care of work, take care of business, get in the end zone and get them back on the field, and we can keep running.
Thank you so much, AJ. We're going to take a break, and after that, we're going to look at the league highlights from last week.
Yeah, it's a zip car. I don't own it, I just use it when I need it. Zipcar has thousands of cars parked all over the city, even 2 on my block. You can use one for an hour or for a day. And Zipcar pays for gas and insurance. It's easy.
Go to zipcar.com to get your zip card, the key to vehicles parked in your neighborhood and across the globe. For work or play, find a zip car near you, book it,
And before you know it, you're on the road.
cars by the hour or day, gas and insurance included.
Join for as little as $6 per month at zipcar.com.
I missed my graduation, distracted. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed my final exam. I missed some plane flights. I even missed my parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
And welcome back here to Lane Tech Stadium here on the north side of Chicago. We are watching a halftime skills challenge here. One of the fans running around some cones, running through some hoops, and we are jumping through hoops for you tonight for the AUDL on ESPN3. Welcome back alongside Megan Tormey, Chuck Kindred, and Megan, pretty interesting first half. What were your thoughts?
Well, in my interview with AJ, he mentioned how well the defense was functioning, both on generating Ds and then getting quick and easy turns. And it was purely offensive woes that is costing them the early lead that they had. So the Madison Radicals have done a great job working on tightening up that zone. And we'll watch the highlights from the first half and see where exactly things started to go the way of the Radicals. Here very early in the game, we watch Mance get that disc that Wiseman tipped not quite to the sideline. And a huge Pettit Scanlon attempt for the score.
And a great D there from Meshnik. He had a nice sequence against George, Big George, in the first half. And here we can see Graffy getting up big for the hammer block. And A.J. Nelson gets the layout D on the underneath cut. One more look at that. You can see he takes the right line, gets his shoulder in front, and extends out. Very difficult to learn to do that well. But A.J. is one of the guys who's quite comfortable there. Speaking of quite comfortable, Brett Kalanick getting down and dirty.
Yeah, you'll notice as the game went on, the scores generated by the Wildfire were closer to the end zone. There were tons of people around. Earlier in the game, they were able to stretch the field. They had more options. Once the Radicals were on defense, once the Radicals even tightened up their own defense, started making things much more difficult.
See a sign there, bring back Zubair. Zubair was on the Chicago Wildfire roster last year, coached the University of Chicago. I believe he went to the University of Chicago as well. Is that correct? No, actually, no. He went to Illinois. In any event, Zubair, a cool guy, a crowd favorite. Apparently not on the roster this year, though. Big loss for the AUDL. And Polar Vortex is coming back to the Midwest. You can see people bundling up in their blankets, dusting off the winter gear that got about 1 week of shelf time. And don't forget, folks, we're going to be in Madison tomorrow for the second half of our weekend doubleheader here. Madison against Chicago will be the game once again. Just a little over 100 miles up the road in Madison. We'll see if the change in venue makes a difference. So far, Chicago hanging on to a lead. Looks pretty solid. I think Madison generally finishes well. So if I were Chicago, I would not be comfortable with this margin. If I were Madison, I probably wouldn't be too worried. Your thoughts, Megan?
Well, it all depends on how quickly the Wildfire handlers can start to get the disc moving. And not only that, everyone downfield has to be 100% heads up the entire time, because you never know when a small window of opportunity is going to break open and that handler is going to take that opportunity. It can be exhausting being downfield during a zone. You could have 99 cuts and only on the 100th do you actually get thrown the disc. At some point in time, it's very easy to get a little bit lackadaisical. You just keep waiting for the one big throw to happen. But if the downfield stays heads up, if they're doing a good job of stretching the Radicals player, when things get compacted, then the Radicals have a huge advantage, because not only do they play that double team so well, not only do they play the cup so well, but when downfielders start cinching in towards the handlers, it's just like a wall of Radical players.
It's really true. As that zone got more dialed in, it started to look a lot like the 2013 season, where Madison just started to really force the handler jitters on the Wildfire roster. I saw Kalanick start to tighten up. I saw Bob Lou start to just hold the disc. It's funny how you can see a guy just holding the disc a little tighter, and you know they're a little worried about getting point blocked or stalled. And as a defense, that's really all you want. You want the offense to not be comfortable.
I can't say I blame them, Chuck. I look out on the Radical players. defensive line and see how tall they are, how long their limbs are, and I'd be afraid to throw against that too. You only have a fraction of a second before it really sucks in, and then you're up a creek.
That's a good point. So the Andrew Brown show will continue here, centering pass to him, and Benji Kieran is reset. We'll give and go to Tom Annan. He finds Riggles. And nice low delivery from Andrew Brown. Shot towards the end zone here. And a big pursuit and bid by Williams. He will not get it. And the continuing pass to Riggles for the goal. A nice play there by number 13, Brian Hart. Keeps the defender on his back and gets position.
That's exactly the kind of play that the Wildfire were doing a much better job of holding down, of holding back at the beginning of the game. The Radicals work so well together. They have handlers who are so experienced playing together. In particular, Tom Annan, Andrew Brown, Scott Riggles, and Pat Shreewise. They all do a great job of just being in the appropriate place, using their talents wisely.
You can see there Schleicher getting the disc underneath and immediately turning and delivering the disc. I think when you watch the top players, they're able to somehow make the catch, immediately get a look downfield, see what's available, and in one motion turn and deliver a forehand huck. It's very effective. There's actually a mechanical advantage to, as you're turning your hips, doing the full throwing motion and winding and delivering a shot. You can see he just dropped it in there. Pressure right away here again from Meshnick and Weber. And they are funneling the disc to the near sideline. Goose Helton goes over the top, and a tough catch there by Ron Cablanza. And he swings it back to Bob Lou, who goes over the top to A.J. Nelson. And I'm very impressed with Meshnick. He's very aware of when the thrower is looking around, looking for the around throw, and he makes these quick little moves like that to just stop the throw or bother the throw there. You know, I mean, even if a guy's able to get it off, they're thinking about his foot, they're thinking about his reactions because they know he's paying attention. And those little bids, those little foot, like a foot right next to your hand when you release, you do that enough times and guys throw turfs, guys start to get nervous. It's exactly what you want if you're playing a zone D. And a throw out to space. Goose closes and makes the catch. And A.J. Nelson all alone in the middle of the field. And the around flick to A.J. will work. And Ron winds and delivers a blade. Perfect throw right over the heart of the defense and drops it right in. And the quick give and go here. Colin Gephardt fakes to Walden and throws to Goose, and that'll be a goal for Chicago. Nice sequence there from the Wildfire.
Great play, but they had to labor so hard to that point and throw a few dicey throws. I know you've said it, and the wind chill proved it, that you have to throw over the top to get it. In particular was probably the safest long throw that had to go off to get the offense moving for the Wildfire.
Look at how much muscle Cablanza puts on that. He's always been known to be able to deliver those tight outside in kind of platey forehands downfield, just dials it in and just really hits his spots well. I think if they're gonna really do well against this zone, they need guys that can make throws like that because there is quite a bit of space, and if you don't float the disc, it's really not a lot you're going to be able to do on defense. So Tom Annan centering to Andrew Brown up the middle. Brian Hart resets to Benji Kieran, right back to Brian Hart. And a little push off downfield. That was Schleicher. And it's interesting, since there's been refs, you'll see guys starting to do that NBA thing where they act a little bit, lose their balance, call for the foul. And nice quick movement by Madison. Andrew Brown gets the up line. Nice little inside break there. And that's Thomas Coolidge with the disc. Kieran with the little short step backhand break, and Andrew Brown goes right over the top, and that will work for the goal. Nice work by Madison.
Whatever the Wildfire threw at the beginning of this game to kind of throw the Radical offense for a loop has certainly, the magic has worn off. The Radicals have an answer for absolutely everything. We see they don't even have to hold on the disc for more than 2 seconds before the throw is going off. That's incredibly hard to defend, but it also makes the offensive flow so much nicer, so much better for the cutters downfield. They have more space, more opportunities to generate cuts, which just perpetuates the smooth motion of the offense.
I think that's really well said. When I watch the two offenses just from a high level, Madison just looks like they have better flow. They just seem to really move around well together. The disc seems to not stick too long in anyone's hands. And the spacing just looks a little more clean, a little more intuitive. So Chicago will receive, centering pass to Bob Lou, and Goose working in the middle. Nice cut from A.J. Nelson, rocks Mike Swain deep and comes under. And Colin Geppert will wind and deliver a flick out to space. Defender is in the area. Wow, and a nice play by Tyler Kramer to get position, step back, and get big.
That is very unusual. 2 big throws over the hands and heads of Peter Graffey into the hands of the Wildfire. And I mean that as no disrespect for Taylor Kramer, who made an excellent read there. That disc went up high. I started to get nervous, but he maintained position even with Peter Graffey on him. Able to catch over his shoulder for that. That's amazing. You notice at no point in time did Kramer look at his defender. He had eyes only for the disc. It helped him make that last second adjustment that he needed to pull that one down.
A little jostling there between the two players. Not enough to call a foul on, however. Looked like just vying for position, and Madison will have the disc. They're trailing by 2 here early in the third. Nice blade over the top from Andrew Brown. And lots of separation by Madison. Seems like guys are always open by a few steps downfield. I'm not sure if there's switching going on. Kind of a flat mark too, so downfield, you know, when there's a flat mark, it's not always easy to know which side of the defender to be, or which side of the cutter to be on. Madison capitalizing. They've got Tom Annan just a couple yards out of the end zone, and a travel is called. So Tom Annan will, I guess that's a penalty. I honestly don't think he knew where to bring the disc in. So an unfortunate penalty there. 15 yards out. Madison's got a chance to punch it in here and pull within 1. The around is there, and defender is in the area. A little bit of contact, but referee says it was clean. Big George showing his speed once again. So Chicago hustling for their resets here, getting the disc around to the far side of the field, and KK's got a cutter streaking. And looks like Tom Annan may have fouled in an effort to make the D, and that's Dane Olson. With a nice cut to the break side there. Great help from Tom Annan. It looks like he got a piece, and that will be a goal. So Chicago takes the disc back, marches it down the field, and scores. Nice throw to space there by KK. I'm not sure what the call was. Is that a strip?
It was a foul called, and So because it happened in the end zone, the score goes to the Wildfire. Chuck, I think that was one of the most physical points we've seen played so far. I'll venture even to say this season, but definitely in this game. All starting out with George Hughes Strange with that huge D there. As you said before, he's a big guy, very fast, not afraid to use his body to get in there and get that disc.
Yeah, it bears mentioning these teams do not like each other. I wouldn't say they're necessarily bitter enemies. But I think, in talking to the two ultimate communities, I think both communities sort of think they've got a better way of playing, a better way of talent development, a better way of whatever you want to say, a better way to play ultimate. So anytime these two teams play, there's a lot at stake, both for the teams and also for the communities that surround the teams. Pettit Scantling resets to Swain. Alexander gets it right back to Swain. And a nice backhand break. And a nice step in, lefty backhand for the score from Bill Everhart. Nice play by him. He sets it up with the around fake and then just steps right through for the goal.
They really do a very good job of throwing at the very first opportunity or the very first cut they see. It takes a little bit of faith, but these players know each other so well. They can trust that Wiseman's definitely going to keep running in for that disc, and he knows that Everhart has that capability to throw that over the top backhand.
You can see how he sweeps through with the forehand fake too. If Goose doesn't stop that forehand, then it's a goal. And if he does stop the forehand, then he steps through with the backhand, and it's a goal.
Certainly, to Everhart's credit, he is a lefty, and that can make situations like that when you're forcing the forehand a little bit tricky.
Absolutely, it's a great point. A lot of guys just most of us get a lot more reps guarding right-handed players, and as a result, your mark's just not as good on the lefties. So Ron feeling the pressure here, resets to Bob. I really like the way Meshnik gets a foot out on all these swing passes, even if he's not getting the block. Wow, and a great Blady backhand from Bob. And Goose goes up big, misplayed it. Great pressure off the backside there. I like that throw from Bob, though.
Yeah, that had the firepower that it needed. Seth Meyer is not about to let that happen on his watch.
Yeah, great play. He made Goose go up as high as he could to make the first touch. So here we see Goose going up big. Looks like he got first touch.
Hands on that disc.
He did. I'm sure he wishes he could have that back. But in any event, Chicago up 11-9. We're going to take a quick break.
I missed my graduation. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed my final exam. I missed some playing play. I even missed my 10th anniversary. I missed a lot.
Welcome back. Seems like every time we come back from break, we see more winter apparel on the crowd here at Lane Tech. The temperature is dropping as the night wears on. Beautiful sunset over the stands right now. And just over 5 minutes left here in the third. Chicago up a couple points. And Andrew Brown ready to tap it in for Madison.
Curious minds, it was about 60, 62 degrees when we first started. It's now dipped down to 54. Perfect if you're on the field. Perfect if you're playing.
So the disc comes in, nothing doing downfield. And Tom Annan with the disc. So an interesting matchup there. George Hughes Strange guarding Thomas Coolidge. Coolidge a runner. And you can see Coolidge kind of getting separation pretty easily on the big fella. Shrywise with a quick reset rather to Coolidge. Wriggles underneath, big bid by Slover. And a foul is called. Not sure what the call was there. I thought it was a foul, but apparently not. End around looking to break. And Madison with the disc, 20 yards out. Good pressure, especially around the disc from Chicago. Dane Olson wrong-footed there by the fakes of Benji Kieran. And they swing the disc all the way to the far sideline. Tom Annan with the disc, looking for something to open up downfield. But credit to the downfield defense of Chicago. Madison having a hard time getting open looks and having to reset. Nice break there from Benji Kieran. And the throw out to space, misread by Benji Kieran. So great job by Chicago of just shutting it down downfield, making Madison reset the disc several times. And Dane Olson calls the timeout after they get that very valuable turnover from Madison. Again, Madison having a hard time punching it in the red zone. We've seen that throughout the evening, and I think if Madison ends up losing this game, that may be the reason why. 11-9 Chicago. We're going to take a break and be right back.
Yeah, it's a zip car. I don't own it, I just use it when I need it. Zipcar has thousands of cars parked all over the city, even 2 on my block. You can use one for an hour or for a day. And Zipcar pays for gas and insurance. It's easy.
Go to zipcar.com to get your zip card, the key to vehicles parked in your neighborhood and across the globe. For work or play, find a zip car near you, book it,
And before you know it, you're on the road.
cars by the hour or day, gas and insurance included.
Join for as little as $6 per month at zipcar.com.
And we're back here in Chicago. Chicago getting ready to tap the disc in here. They're up 2. They got the disc, forced a nice turnover there. And who is your MVP of the game so far, would you say, Megan? It's a little early. Anybody stand out to you?
That is a great question, which I will answer. But I will say that it is hard, in particular because Madison is known for having a very even-keeled roster. I think everyone does a great job of sharing the responsibilities. So you don't often have one person who's stand away the best.
But if you had to pick.
I had to pick.
This is on the record forever, by the way. Goose Helton with a deep shot. A.J. Nelson with separation. Great speed, and he's unable to get to it. Looks like it might have been out of bounds.
I was just about to name A.J. Nelson.
Well, how about that? The disc doesn't lie, right? A.J. Nelson looks bigger than last year. I feel like his shoulders are a little broader this year.
He did a lot of work training off season under the guidance of Goose Helton, who's known for putting a large emphasis on weight training, plyometric training, keeping players healthy. So he followed Goose's protocol. I agree. He certainly looks a little tighter, a little fitter. And he said that it has helped his knees, which in the past have bothered him.
Yeah, very tough for the bigger guys. The wear and tear tends to be a little quicker. And certainly AJ at 6'4", with the amount of running that he's doing. And deep shot here for Meshnik. And certainly some contact. Wiseman unable to make the play, and looks like it's going to be no call. May have been unplayable. Looks like the guys were all a little bit ahead of the disc there. In any event, Chicago will get it back. Let's take another look. See, Wiseman's coming in. There was some contact off the backside by, looks like Colin Gephardt got in there. Nice pressure. Goose held in the middle of the field. And a nice heads-up play from Meshnik. Who else? Always thinking, always reacting, and always looking to score a goal like he did there. Meshnik really having a great game. I think if I were going to pick an MVP, it might be Andrew Meshnik.
That's a good pick, Chuck.
See how I put her on the spot, folks, and then I waited for somebody to score a goal? Brody taught me that. Not really. I've never talked to Brody. In any event, Meshnik making it look easy. Folks, if you haven't been to altianalytics.com, I think I have that correct. It's a great site where you can look at stats by player, by team. And there's a lot of great graphics to kind of see who's throwing to who's got the best, the most goals, the most assists, who's got the best plus minus. Really interesting to compare across the division, or just look at who's got the most touches on a team. I know we were looking last weekend at Cassidy Rasmussen. He had 2 drops on 180 touches. Stuff like that is just shocking.
Even keep track of hang time of the polls.
I know. Isn't it, who is it, Lloyd who has the most hang time on polls or something like that? Seems like he should be leading in. Ultimate-numbers.com, apparently. I thought it was Alti Analytics. Did they change it? We'll try to get you the website. And double team is in effect. Dane Olson rather, almost trips. Chicago on the doorstep here. You can see the field really tightens up, and the throw around is contested, but caught by Brett Kalanick, who will wind and deliver the goal. Kalanick once again coming through under pressure and making the catch.
Dane Olson is really playing this game the way the entire Wildfire team should be playing. He's trying his hardest to lead on the field. We see him running in. His cuts are fiery. They're fast. He makes quick decisions. The only thing that's tripping him up is how congested the field is as a result of people coming in close and not moving.
And we have confirmation. Altianalytics.com is where you want to go. Very interesting. I actually work in statistics. I do predictive analytics on healthcare data when I'm not doing this. And I've got to say, I'm impressed with the kind of stats they're keeping and the sort of graphics and charts that they're producing. It's a nice dashboard if you want to just get a feel for your team. So Andrew Brown in the middle of the field. And not a lot of wind tonight. So a lot of these resets or rounds over the tops will work. Coolidge active, swinging the dish to Shrywise. And nice footwork there. I believe that was Benji Kieran with the goal. Gets airborne, makes the catch, and makes sure to drop in the heel inside the pylon there.
Watch
Madison.
Benji as he comes in for this cut. He sees from across the field what's going on, and he decides he's going to take that open space and get that goal.
You can see there Pat Shrywise catches and throws all in one fluid motion. I think that's something Madison seems to just do better. If I had to draw a distinction between the two communities and these two styles of play, Madison just seems a little more bohemian, a little more just take what they give us on offense. Not a lot of overthinking out there. And so far it's paying off. And it is 11-12. Madison pulls within 1.
Yeah, it's a zip car. I don't own it, I just use it when I need it. Zipcar has thousands of cars parked all over the city, even 2 on my block. You can use one for an hour or for a day. And Zipcar pays for gas and insurance. It's easy.
Go to Zipcar.com to get your Zip Card, the key to vehicles parked in your neighborhood and across the globe. For work or play, find a Zipcar near you, book it,
And before you know it, you're on the road.
cars by the hour or day, gas and insurance included.
Join for as little as $6 per month at Zipcar.com.
I missed my graduation to practice. I sleep so we could drill. I missed anniversary, Father's Day, Mother's Day, soccer game, Valentine's Day, Saturday. I missed my final exam.
I missed some plane flights. I even missed our parents' anniversary. I missed a lot.
And we are back here in Chicago. We're going to take a look at a couple of highlights from the third quarter. Here we see a scuba over the top. Well played by Ron Cablanza. And a nifty little backhand over the top there. Tough to do that without it fluttering and turning over, but Andrew Brown does it well. Here we can see Kramer just getting position, stepping back, keeping his eyes on the disc. Beautifully done. And we're back to live action here. Big inside-out backhand huck. And Ron Cablanza will center to Bob Lou. And Walden Nelson now handling the disc. Walden Nelson has aspirations, I believe, to play for the Buzz Bullets one day. If you don't know who the Buzz Bullets are, they're one of the most incredible club teams you'll ever see, based out of Japan, sponsored by Dunka Shutter, and a huge Callahan goal on the layout. What a play from Madison. So we see the play set up here. Lots of pressure on the resets. Walden Nelson coming back to the disc. And I'm not sure he saw the throw go up. In any event, Seth Meyer all over it with the big layout Callahan goal and the spike.
This is the second time we have seen Seth so quick on the reaction. He noticed the disc is coming in his way, and he just breaks away to get it.
Yeah, great heads-up play there. I'm not sure if Walden didn't know the throw was coming. He looked awfully tentative on that disc. So Chicago with the disc. We are tied at 12, folks. Madison has come all the way back. We said they'd tend to finish strong, and they're starting to do just that. And a ball from the crowd bounces on the field. Goose doesn't even notice. And George in the middle of the field. Nice flow from Chicago so far. And the reset. And Goose in the middle of the field, stall count getting high, throws the scuba to Slover. Slover's so fun to watch how he moves the disc around, changes hands, changes release. Great touch on the upline throw, and that's going to work. Chicago reclaims the lead 13-12 here on some chilly offense by the Wildfire.
We're going to see some taco discs, all these end zone spikes here. I have to say, though, I am impressed that the Wildfire still hold the lead at this point in the game. For the last 2.5 quarters, I would say the Radicals looked like the chillier, smoother team. And I know, obviously, the Radicals have come back from a 4-point deficit in that first quarter, but they still look like they are just having a more enjoyable time on the field. The Wildfire having to make some kind of questionable decisions, or questionable, I'll say creative throws to get the disc where they want it to go. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
It's a great point. This disc turning over. So Chicago on D looking to break and go up 2. Andrew Brown with the throw over the top, and a huge D on the ill-advised scuba. That's Vaughn over the top. Great play by him to not foul and get first touch on the disc. Andrew Sheehan with the disc now will pick up. Tough resets right now. Great D by Madison. And John Cobb with a quick little dish. Sheehan wasn't ready for it, and Madison gets the disc back. So Schreiwise swinging the disc to Kieran. Kieran having a nice game today, and he's going to throw over the top. And a little too much mustard on that hot dog. So these teams are giving it away right now. So here's the scuba, and what a play. Great explosion right there.
Yeah, Von Allen Gilan is 25 years old. He's played for the second-tier men's team here in Chicago, Haymaker. It's really fun to watch him start to come into his own as an ultimate player. That D, a great example of it.
Yeah, if I could say one thing that Chicago's lacking a little bit, it's just that kind of fiery, passionate play. They tend to be very intimidating a way because they're so big, they're so fast, they're so strong. But they don't play with a lot of fire sometimes. You can see right here, Wriggles furious with that call. Thought he had a clean point block in the end zone. And Wriggles is letting the ref know. He better be careful. He could get a, I don't know, what do we give out in the AUDL? Suspensions, 10-game suspensions, $100,000 fines, no BMW.
It's a steep price.
Wow. And the unintentional Max Sheehan gathers. And again, trying to draw the foul. And the foul is called on Madison. Madison is getting a little chirpy about these calls, maybe rightly so. Tim DeBile on the field right now. Tim DeBile, the owner and coach of the Radicals. You can see Sheehan clearly initiating some, if not all, of this contact. I don't believe you have the right to a full pivot. You can be within a pivot there. It seems like he's pivoting out and saying, hey, these guys are in my way. You can see he's doing it again. But, you know, until the refs call it correctly, why not do it? And as always, folks, it's a judgment call, snap decision. Certainly there's contact. It's a question of who's initiating it. John Cobb with the disc. Quick reset. Sheehan looks fired up right now. And you can see this Midwest rivalry is kind of coming to life before our eyes. Earlier in the game, it was all about playmaking, giving the fans a show. And the more we play, it seems to be more personal, more about dominance in the Midwest. And we'll see who comes out on top here. And a big foul there. Benji Kieran lays Chris Vandervoort out. So it's getting a little hot under the collar for some of these players.
You can certainly say that again, Chuck. I like how you define it as getting more personal. I agree that play has been physical throughout, but this is starting to say something.
Wow, and a heck of a step around flick break there from Chris Vandervoort. You know, that's one of the advantages. A lot of guys get flustered when there's guys very close to them, but never forget, if they're very close to you, you can literally throw anything. Just step around, throw a flick, throw a scuba.
Especially if you're 6'4".
You can see Vandervoort doing his best LeBron James impersonation there. Although certainly there was some contact. Don't mean to give you the wrong idea, folks.
Yeah, a couple of these last fouls, I would probably throw my hands up too. Just a little bit more out of disbelief than trying to get the foul call.
Absolutely.
Great put, great cut from Kevin Kelly, giving Vandervoort that opportunity, which again has been part of the problem with the Wildfire offense. Yes, the handlers are not getting the disc off quickly enough, but we're also not seeing the cutters make intense cuts to potential places where the handler could throw.
You can see Tim DeBile there on the sideline giving the referee an earful. I wonder how much these refs will listen. Dave Wiseman with the disc. Wiseman was a big factor last year. I haven't seen him really be a game changer yet this season. And Pettit Scanling with the disc, looks up line, defender in the area. Big bid by Dane Olson, does not get it. And another upline cut, a little overthrown. So Chicago gets lucky there. The upline was there, that could have been a goal. But instead it is a turnover out the back, and Williams collects the disc and will tap it in. Chicago looking to go up 3 here with about 6.5 left in the game. Madison sideline saying to expect the deep shot here. And these double teams are very effective, especially when the receiver or when the thrower is just looking for a quick reset. can make it really nerve-wracking to make a short throw when you got two guys on you, and the deep shot goes up. And well played. Mike Swain gets up early and makes the D.
That was a great put. That had quite a bit of field to cover. For no other reason, this is great. It puts Madison right at Chicago's end zone.
Yeah, if nothing else, good field position here. And Wiseman with the disc, and he's going to wind and deliver a beautiful inside-out flick to Mike Swain, who misplays it. And Alex Wagner goes up and gets redemption just on the wrong end of a D on offense, and he gets Swain back on defense. So an interesting little matchup here between Swain and Wagner. We'll see how that develops. And immediately another deep shot. Olsen winds and delivers, sees George Hughes Strange with a couple steps. Wiseman goes up, and George looks like he just misplayed it there.
I think Wiseman heard you say he wasn't much of a factor in this game.
I hope he did. We're happy to have you back, Dave. And a big shot deep. This is looking like college regionals all over again, and it is hauled in. Nice throw out to space there, and that will be a goal for Madison to Kelson Alexander. This is getting interesting. There's a lot of physical play. There's a lot of deep shots going up. There's a lot of chirping from the sideline. I got a feeling this may carry over into our game tomorrow night.
Yeah, Chuck, to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. There's Derlika Wagner going up against two great players from the Madison Radicals.
And this is a nice throw out to space. Swain, I think, saw it, off the hand. It's really inside out. You think it's going to bend right. The wind turns it over, though, and Swain did not make the adjustment. Here's the deep shot, and I don't think Wiseman got a piece of that. I think the big fella just dropped it. Is George a surgeon?
I'm not sure, Chuck.
I'm not either, but if he's a surgeon with hands like that, that could be scary, folks.
We did just get confirmation he is a surgeon.
He is a surgeon. Oh, my.
Keep that in mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, public service announcement. So swinging the disc here, Chicago looking for an opening. Big bid there. And immediately, isn't that funny how that happens? On a bid, even if you miss, a lot of times it makes a nervous throw the immediate result. And Madison getting the disc right where they want it. 20 yards out. Physical marks right now. See, Gephardt really wanted a D, and he forced a tough throw. I think between Gephardt and Bob, they just forced an almost impossible throw. And Chicago gets it back. Hammer over the top from Bob. And Ron Kublanza working it on the backhand side. And the hammer over the top is there. Well played by Bob. And A.J. Nelson with the disc. And Ron looks like he's slowing down a little bit. I wonder if his knee is bothering him. He's had some problems with that right knee over the past several years. This is a guy who's been playing at the top of the game for, I'm not even sure, 20 years. Hammer downfield. And centering pass to A.J. A.J. is going to try to gun it in there, and does. Goose Helton, workout buddies, combining for the goal, and Chicago will go up.
2 minutes and 59 seconds. 3 minutes left in this game, and we are seeing some hot play from both teams. I feel like now both teams have arrived and decided they really want to win this game.
You can definitely see it. Chicago does not want their Midwest rival to come into their house and win in front of their home crowd. And who's stepping up when it counts? Your two stars, A.J. Nelson, getting open and delivering a bullet to Goose Helton. I'm under the impression from talking with guys that have played with Goose over the years that he might be one of those guys whose personal records on some of these workouts might be a little shocking. Is that your understanding?
Well, he certainly puts in the work for it.
So the big pull, it's going to drop in deep in the end zone, centering pass to Andrew Brown. Let's see if Madison can respond. They are down to just under 3 minutes. It's kind of now or never. And a nice quick little dish to Andrew Brown, and he thinks about it, but holds on to the huck. Thomas Coolidge. And a little quick give and go. Coolidge going deep. Throw is not there, however. And Madison unable to get the looks that they want downfield right now. They're settling for the resets. However, the resets are pretty easy. Coolidge open all day. And foul on the mark. So Coolidge will tap it in. Remember, the pylons mark the end zone. So you can see this end zone is actually the 10-yard line on the football field. Here's that throw and go that Coolidge loves so much. Again, it works for him. And into the end zone is Tom Annan. That throw and go has really opened up a few goals for Madison so far, and it does once more.
It is tricky to defend, but the Radicals are pulling it off so nicely. It looks like it's impossible to defend on the part of the Wildfire.
And a reminder that this weekend in Cincinnati, College Ultimates National Championships are going on. And I believe today was the first day of play. Do they play on Monday as well? Might be a 4-day tournament, I'm not sure. But in any event, in Cincinnati, follow your favorite college teams who are vying for that national championship. Very hard to win a college title. So much turnover every year, a different team. And if you want to see passion, there's really no better way. It's kind of like March Madness versus the NBA. You just see guys that care so much, guys and girls I should say, that care so much about their team. Great pressure here. Walden Nelson had a costly turnover before, steps through this time. And they get it through the cup. Goose with the disc. And you can see once again there's not a lot going on downfield. Somehow they're able to contain the downfield space well enough to force these guys to reset backwards. And Goose Helton in the middle of the field, swinging to Bob Lou. Just over a minute left. You know, Chicago really doesn't have to score, but they sure don't want to turn it here. Chicago with a 1-point lead, under a minute left. And they are begging, they are hoping for Chicago to turn the disc here. Let's see if Chicago can just maintain possession. 40 seconds to go. Nice pressure there. And all the way back to the end zone. Scary if you're Chicago. If they turn it here, we could be going to overtime. And 20 seconds left. Another tough reset. And 10 seconds left. Madison needs a turn right now. Chicago swinging it back, and that will do it. Chicago winds down the clock, maintains possession, resets against a tough Madison zone, and holds on for the win, 15-14. This is the first time that either of these teams has won in front of their home crowd against the opposing team. That's got to feel pretty good if you're Goose Helton. Wow, a near miss there. That might have been the difference. If he drops there, folks, Madison will pick up the disc on the end zone and likely score to send it to overtime. Look at these close margins here. Kramer steps around there, resets it, and that will be the end. You can see Goose with the big smile. And Meshnik knocks the disc out of his hand. So a tough loss for Madison, a nice win if you're the Chicago Wildfire. Remember, the last time these two teams played here, Madison ended the season of the Chicago Wildfire. A Chicago Wildfire team that last year a lot of people thought might be the front runner in the league. Toronto certainly didn't think that, and Toronto just steamrolled their way to the first title last year. Went undefeated through the regular season and the playoffs. But Chicago gets an important win here in front of their home crowd against Madison, and that sets up our rematch tomorrow night in Madison. You can see the Chicago Wildfire players showing some appreciation to the fans who stayed despite the temperature dropping considerably throughout our game. Steve Gordon there in the blue jacket. Steve Gordon is owner of the Wildfire, commissioner of the league. And interesting guy, did not play Ultimate, was a hockey player from Detroit area, but saw the sport of Ultimate, just thought there was something about it that he really liked. He's been a guy who had done a lot of mentoring with young men, and he thinks it was interesting to hear him talk, because he said he thought the values of the sport of Ultimate were very much in line with what he believes. And that's why he got involved. Pretty neat story. You can see here Goose Helton and a couple of the Radicals powwowing here, and Megan is down on the field with Dane Olson. We're going to send it to her.
Chuck, Dane, a lot of your work on offense really helped open up things for Chicago. Tell me a little bit more about what in general turned things around for you guys, helped you get the disc moving more.
Well, you saw they were running a pretty tight double team trap, trying to get us stuck in the line, and I know one of the things that I focused on was just seeing those angles that they were giving us. They were giving us a lot of space, well, for throws that can go over the top or around, like space deep, and to guys that they're kind of like, that's the shot we want to give up. So I was happily taking those, and the rest of the guys just played really smart and just 100% throws, not forcing anything that we didn't have. So yeah, it was a good battle out there today.
Yeah. And what were you guys doing on the sideline to help keep the emotions, keep the nerves down to a minimum?
We really tried to gather on the sideline with the 7 guys that were on the field the previous point, and talking it over and making sure that we're all on the same page after every point. So you're focusing with a tight group, and that just ensures that no matter what, you keep a level head, and we all keep our heads in the right place where they need to be for a tight game like this.
Well, you guys are heading on a bus tomorrow, going to match up against the Radicals again tomorrow in their hometown. What are you guys going to talk about in between now and then to help secure another victory for you guys?
It's going to be reviewing a little bit what they did tonight. We prepared for this game by practicing against their specific defense and knowing what they were going to try to do. And we saw a little bit of different stuff tonight, so that a couple adjustments to make, but I'm feeling confident going into tomorrow that we've got a great team that can break through their stifling double team and bring home another win tomorrow.
Well, excellent work today. Congratulations on a very exciting win, and I look forward to watching you again tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Go
Chuck,
Wildfire.
back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Megan. And a great first game in our doubleheader this weekend. Madison will be hosting Chicago tomorrow night. You know, we saw a lot of fiery play in the second half, a lot of fouls. We saw some of the Madison guys just yelling at the refs. And we look forward to seeing how this plays out tomorrow. For tonight, at least, Chicago able to hold serve here in Chicago. And we're going to run some highlights from the second half here real shortly.